Hello, students. Welcome back to our math class. We will be working on our last lesson in our decimal operations unit. So, as always, to begin, let's look over your answers for your word problems from yesterday's or from the previous lesson. And your answers are in the red. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message on Google Classroom or remind or wait until our Zoom meetings. Alright, so let's get started with our last lesson. So in this particular lesson, we're going to be looking at Miss Savelovitz and her trying to meet her goal for the Olympics. So she wants to run a lot of miles, but she doesn't have a lot of time each day to do it. So we're going to be looking at how many miles she can run and how much time she has to run it. So to meet her goal for the Olympics, Miss Savelovitz has to run 56 miles to prepare. However, she only has time to run 3.5 miles a day. And how many days will it take for Miss Savelovitz to meet her goal? So some things that we need to pay attention to is I need to pay attention to the details that are given, which is the 56 miles that she has to run total, and the fact that she only has time to run 3.5 miles each day. And I want to know how many days that she's running. So this is once again a division problem. All right. However, we need to pay attention and look and see, well, what is being divided? Is the 3.5 being divided, or is the 56 being divided? In this case, it's the 56 that's being divided by, 56 being divided by the 3.5. Okay. So this problem is a little different than our last problem, as the decimal is on the outside. And we can still answer these problems, but it's a little bit different than when the decimal is on the inside, when the decimal is in the dividend versus when the decimal is in the divisor. So when the decimal is in the divisor, we still have to move it out. In this case, we have to move it out of the way and make it bigger. So in this case, if I move it out of the way one time to make it bigger, it makes the number 10 times bigger. So because I made the number 10 times bigger over here, I need to make, or because I made the divisor 10 times bigger, I need to make the dividend also 10 times bigger. So using our lesson from Powers of 10, I know that I can make 56 10 times bigger by adding a 0 and making it 560. That is that number 10 times larger. Okay. So once that is done, and I've moved the decimal point out of the divisor, and I've made my dividend 10 times larger as well, then I can divide as normal. So I'm going to continue on with my divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down method, and divide as normal. So looking at how many groups of 35 can I get out of 5? Of course, that is 0. But then when I look at how many groups of 35 can I get out of 56, my answer is 1. So I'm going to subtract 35 minus 56, which will give me an answer of 21. And then I'm going to check to make sure 21 is smaller than 35. So I have the maximum amount of groups of 35, which I do. And then I'm going to bring down my 0. So now I'm going to divide 210 divided by 35. So how many groups of 35 can I get out of 210? And the best possible answer is 6. So I'm going to multiply 35 times 6, which gives me 210. And I'm going to subtract 210 from 210, and that gives me the answer of 0. So 0 is smaller than 35, And then I don't have anything else left to bring down. So if I'm answering the question, how many days will it take for Miss Savelovitz to meet her goal? It would take Miss Savelovitz 16 days to meet her goal. So for 16 days, she will run 3 5/10 miles, and that would get her to 56 miles. Now, I know we moved the decimal out of the problem. However, to solve this problem, because we made each part proportional, that means the same thing I did to the dividend is the same thing I did to the divisor. I made one 10 times larger. I made the other 10 times larger. I don't have to go back and put a decimal back into the problem. You'll just leave it at that. So let's look at another problem similar. So Sadie bought 30 pounds of cat food for her cats. Each day, Sadie leaves out 1 5/10 pounds of cat food for her kitten. How many days will her bag of cat food last? So similar to the problem before, is we're looking at 30 pounds of cat food and Sadie leaving out 1 5/10 pounds each day. And once again, it's a division because I want to know, well, how long would this last if I have the total? So I'm going to divide. Start with what part is my divisor and what part is my dividend. So I am dividing 30 by 1 5/10. So like before, I'm going to move my decimal point out of the way one time, which means I need to make my dividend 10 times larger as well. Alright, so now I'm dividing. 300 is being divided by 15. So like before, I'm going to use my divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down method. So like before, 15 cannot go into 3, or I cannot make groups of 15 out of 3. So I'm going to put a 0 there. How many groups of 15 can I make out of 30? My answer is 2. When I multiply 15 times 2, I get 30. So I'm going to subtract 30 minus 30, which is 0. And then I'm going to check, is 0 less than 15? Yes, it is. And although it is a 0, I still have to bring it down because it is a part of the number. It's a part of the amount that I have to divide. And I need to put, well, how many groups of 15 can I get out of 0? Which is 0. 15 minus 0 is 0. So, how many days will the bag of cat food last? The bag of cat food will last 20 days. Not 2 days, it will last 20 days. So, that's why we still have to bring down the other 0. Okay? For your classwork today, you will be answering questions similar to this. One of the things I would say is like this first problem, you will have to move the decimal 2 times out of the way. So you would make the number 100 times bigger. So if this is my number, if this is my equation, because there's 2 place values behind the decimal. So that's 10, 100 times bigger. Then I have to make this part, my dividend, also 100 times bigger. Okay, so then you're doing 1,600 divided by 8. Okay. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to give me, to leave a message on Google Classroom or mine, or you can ask me during Zoom. I look forward to seeing each and every one of you. Have a good day.